So the acting stuff, man, that's what I want to talk to you about first.
Yeah.
Because the people are going to start to think this is just a podcast where I speak to other actors.
Yeah.
I'm in real dangerous territory at the moment of just inviting actors on.
Yeah.
But I fucking love actors.
Yeah. We're good at conversating.
Yeah.
Making it a bit like fluffing the edges up, I think.
Yeah. And we love the sound of our own voice.
Yeah, that's true.
More importantly.
Yeah, that's
Were
true.
you always into acting?
Well, the first thing I used to do first of all, let me apologise.
Come on.
Because a few weeks ago, I prioritised the water fast over coming to the podcast. And so I just want to hold my hands up that I actually stood James up and I feel really bad. So I just wanted to say I'm really sorry, but thanks for accepting it and having me on again.
Mate, I'm formally accepting your apology now on air, so
Great.
I can't back down now.
Yeah.
You have been forgiven.
The guy over there's holding a gun to his head. By the way. But yeah, but when I was a kid, I loved like being creative. My nan had a phone that had one of the first cameras on, and when you could record on, like iPhones now, when you stop the recording, it stops and creates a new file and you start again. Well, you could pause the recording. So I used to like make little blue tack men and make little stop motion things. So I was like, I guess I was like a Spielberg filmmaker when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And then I watched Braveheart with my nan and granddad. My mum, nan, and granddad are really the people that like showed me like some of the best films, which like from an early age. Well, I thought men and women were in the telly, so I just pointed and said I want to do what the man on the telly does. But then I watched Braveheart at a stupidly young age, and I was captivated by that whole film and Mel Gibson's performance as well. Yeah. And I was like, I just want to do that. Like, I don't know what it is, but I want to do that.
Do you remember how old you were?
I was probably like 6 or 7, realistically, when I could remember watching it. But I think I watched it from quite an early age. Because I'm half Scottish, so we went to Scotland quite a lot. Went to the Wallace Monument, climbed up all the stairs, and you get like a little... Well, I thought I got a medal, but they bought a little coin thing that was like a little medal for climbing the stairs. But yeah, I was like, it must have been like 6 or 7 when I climbed the Wallace Monument. But yeah, from an early age, I just wanted to do what the man on the telly did, pretty much.
Nice. Did you do theatre and stuff when you were a kid?
No, I didn't do anything. I was absolutely petrified.
Really?
I was a bit of a loser in primary school, to be honest. Do you know what? I'm lying. I was a bit of a loser, and then the school plays that we did, I would always be like an extra character on the side, but we'd learn the songs and stuff. But it wasn't like I had auditioned for the roles. It was just like compulsory. You had to do like a nativity or something. However, my breakout role, I played Cilla Black at the Tudor version of Blind Dates, and I had to wear a skimpy little green dress and a big ginger wig. And the only reason why I managed to do that is because this dude that was playing her was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I can't do it. I'm too scared. So,
is there a loser in the room that would do it?
And I have vivid memories of being at the front and like, did you ever used to watch Blind Dates?
Yeah.
I remember like it being set up. And so we were learning about the Tudors. And I remember this thing, I've got it so I've got a unit at the end of my bed and I've got the little dress and it is like this big. And so I put it up against me. I was like, what? But I remember like having to learn how to sit like a lady, like in a dress and everything, because I'm stood at the front of the assembly room with all the kids there watching. But after that, I went to secondary school and I was just in the lad group.
Yeah.
Pissed about a lot. I auditioned for one musical. That was traumatic because like half the school was in there, like an open audition. I got a role in it, but over the summer I didn't learn my lines and lost the script, and so I went to school. So I'm not doing it. I just messed around the whole time in secondary school, and then.
So where did that desire to go to drama school come from then? Because that's a massive step.
Well, I always wanted to do it, but like I was just not in the wrong crowd because all my mates from school are still my mates now. But I just didn't do it then. I think I was too scared of what people would think, and I was too busy like chasing girls. And honest to God, I was in seclusion so much, and I was like, I'm so surprised I didn't get kicked out of school. So I just wasn't like in the right mindset for it. But then when I left school, and I had like a period where I was just doing nothing but playing video games and smoking cigarettes and just doing nothing. Like 16, literally left school, did nothing. Had no GCSEs as well. And then I just like realised I was like, I've got to like do something about it if I want to actually go to drama school, like be an actor, because I can't just sit around and think that the world is going to happen for me. So I auditioned for college. I auditioned for the level 2. And actually, like I said, I didn't have any GCSEs. I didn't have an English and maths qualification at all. I auditioned for the level 2. But they were like, you did a really good audition. We're not going to put you on the level 2 because it's a bit like, there's a certain like
threshold.
We're going to put you on level 3, but you will have to reset your English and maths. But we won't tell the college about your other, like the fact you ain't got nothing else, which don't worry about it. So I resat my English and maths at college whilst I did performing arts. So I started acting when I was 18, pretty much.
Nice. And then you trained at Aura.
Yeah, that's right.
How was that?
So I auditioned there in my second year at college, back in 2015, got rejected. Well, I got a waiting list. And then I auditioned at Lambda, got rejected. But as soon as I got to Aura, so basically I documented all of my audition experiences on YouTube. So
really,
from my first audition to my result, I opened my Lambda result at my Aura audition on camera as well.
Oh.
So it's all on YouTube to watch. I got rejected from Lambda, obviously. No, actually, yeah, I got rejected from Lambda, but I did get my second round of auditioning at Aura, which was a couple of years later. I got another waiting list, and I was like, "What? Fuck this, man!" So like, there was one day where I was like, I just accepted my losses. I was like, I guess like I got a waiting list last year, so I'm not going to get in again because waiting list is basically just no. I called him up 4 times in one day. I'm not even going to joke. Like the registrar that I spoke to, by the third time, he was like, "All right, let me go and speak to Ali, who ran the course at Aura." And then I called him again. I was literally in H&M with my girlfriend at the time. And I called him back. He was like, "Will you just give us a sec?" Then I got a call 2 or 3 minutes later, and they accepted me. But I didn't give them a chance pretty much because I just called them up 4 times in a day.
It sounds like you harassed them into accepting.
No, I did harass them into accepting me. Yeah, I did. Damn straight. And then when I got there, I freaking made sure they knew as well. I mean, I didn't carry on harassing them when I got there. I kind of accepted that I got in. But I did harass them for that scholarship that I was talking to you about earlier. I'm not joking. I would go to the office like realistically once or twice a term. You know, hello, you got a scholarship for me? Because I sold my soul for my first year fees. I sold my car. I used my £3,000 savings that I had. I fundraised as well, so I waxed my legs and I got people to sponsor me. I got loads of independent businesses to like donate as prizes, and I did like a fete at the community centre in Peterborough in Britain. So I raised the money to go my first year, but I had no idea how I was going to pay for my second or third year. Like literally no idea. It's
hard. It's a real graft. People don't understand that side of it, do they? Especially with courses like acting, when you're there all day, every day.
Yeah.
I don't know about yours, but if we weren't there by 8:30,
yeah,
they locked the door.
Oh yeah.
Like you had to be there.
Yeah. They were there. I've never been at an institution or a job or a place or anything that is so hot on like promptness, being on time. Because if you're like, you know what drama school's like. The classes are intense. You don't want to be 5 minutes into a warm up at the start of a voice class and like you got 3 or 4 people coming in disrupting and that. But yeah, they'll just goodbye, and you'd get like 3 warnings and you're getting kicked out of school. Well, they said that they were like, but there were a few people that would get penalised more than the others. And ironically, the guys that were always late and always fucking around and like a bit just cared a little bit less. They're the ones that are all doing really, really well now. But they are all really talented actors though.
Yeah,
but I think that's quite a common trait with actors.
Yeah.
Like some people can be a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm definitely chaotic as well.
Oh, I think you have to be a little bit. You have to be a little bit chaotic to be a creative, to be someone who because it's a lot of it's emotional.
Yeah,
you make rash emotional decisions all the time.
Yeah,
and part of the joy of doing that is what it brings to a performance.
Yeah,
it brings that that electricity that you don't often find in people.
Yeah. You got to drag stuff from nowhere sometimes, but also drag stuff from somewhere a lot. And
Yeah.
I know, like when I was at drama school, it was a roller coaster the whole time. But in the best and the worst ways, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I had a really good time in hindsight. When I was there, I was really intense, and I was just every cliche under the sun. I completely changed as a person as well. I was like a council estate kid that wanted this more than ever, or more than anything. Sorry, I got there, and it was just a really confusing time, like in terms of identity. So I completely changed as a person. But I think that was like a part of it for me now, like in hindsight. But yeah, when I was there, I was just really intense, just worked really hard. Like I said, I didn't give them a choice but to give me a scholarship in second and third year.
Did you learn a lot, do you think? Because I've often thought about this. I'm not sure how much technique I actually learnt. I think, for me at least, I learnt because I was acting every single day.
Yeah.
Rather than like, that's good acting, that's shit acting. It was just repetition. It was like, right, I'm going to do performance all day. Stage combat, movement, voice, theatre studies, classical stuff, modern, whatever the text was. And it was because I was doing it every day that I got better rather than, do you know what?
I would agree. Like, obviously, I don't think I've come out of drama school and I've been like, I'm going to do Stanislavski with everything that I do now.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to practice Meisner all the time. I just enjoyed just being able to do it every day, all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like, again, like I did a play for 3 months. I did The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at Derby Theatre, and then we moved down to the Queen's Theatre in Hornchurch in London. And it was the best. Oh, it's the best experience ever. Like,
Really?
you just rehearsing for 4 weeks, 10 hours a day. You're getting paid weekly, and then when you get paid, you're like, this ain't right. I've grafted. I was working in a veg packing factory 3 weeks ago. Now I've got this job. But anyway, it's not about the money. It's like the whole experience. And then doing the show, I realized that when I would approach the shows, like before my warm ups, I'd do a vocal warm up that I'd kind of learnt at drama school, but also I'd just do a 10-minute one that I'd find on YouTube, and I'd paste the theatre, and then I would listen to my playlist that I would create for the character that I'm playing, mixed with things that make me feel cool and badass. Because that's a part of being an actor that I really enjoyed when I was a kid. So like in my nan and granddad's flat, they at the end of their bed they had a big double unit, and in that double unit was videotapes, and each video had like a number on it, and then my granddad had these 2 boxes, and in the boxes were these little like receipts, papers, whatever, and had a number and a film on. So I'd spend every time I'd go around there, which was most weekends, I'd spend all day every day watching films on their bed.
Wow.
And one of them that I'm still obsessed with is Blade. But anyway, like I used to watch those films and think, they look fucking badass, man. Like that vampire looks badass. I want to do that. Or I want to be a werewolf. And like Van Helsing, I was like, I want to be a werewolf. Getting to do it every day, was just like living that little kid's dream of like being badass. But before I'd go out on stage, I don't think I would. I didn't do Stanislavski in prep. I just looked at my lines and learnt them. Maybe put a few actions next to them, but like how I would learn, how I would remember them, and then listen to a badass playlist and go out on stage and have fun.
I always think once you get to that stage in the production where you're on stage and the shows are happening, you've just, for me at least, I've got to find the most relaxed place I can find.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, I've got to be relaxed.
Yeah.
Because there's so much going on in our heads before we go on stage. Right, that scene didn't go particularly well in the dress rehearsal. I messed up that line. What if that happens? Oh, I've got like, I don't like that bit of the dialogue. There's all these things going on. You've got to find this sort of centered kind of relaxed.
You almost have to like find within that relaxedness, unbotheredness.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
In our during that production, one of the sort of we didn't have any understudy, so it was just us.
Mm-hmm.
One of the gentlemen, Charlie, he got laryngitis, I think, and so we had to have an actor step in during the transfer to London. And so during the tech rehearsal on day 2, which is a day before going up, like they didn't postpone the show until he was better. They were just, nah, you guys are doing it. We're going to raw dog it and we're going to have this guy come in. And he did it with a script in his hand. And so like, speaking of like finding that relaxed place, like I had to be lifted in the air. There was so much physicality. It's like a Victorian era style place. So there was a lot of like, the practicalities of like the transformation of the doctor and all this kind of like, the set was like very interactive. And I'm just stood there like, I have never been this anxious in my life, ever. This dude, like, balls on him, by the way.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll do it, I don't care. Yeah, stood on stage in front of 400 people, just a day after just trying to figure out and learn the whole play. And we did it, and it was fun. But that feeling of like, I'm doing my yoga before I go out and listen to the YouTube voice fucking warm up, thinking, I've never been this scared before in my life. Because like the last 4 weeks were fine because we had all the cast there, but it was so good and it worked really well. And it's like the show must go on.
It's a great stage, that Queen's Theatre Hornchurch.
Have you been to Derby Theatre before?
Yeah, I've played Derby.
Oh, it's lovely there as well.
I've done 2 national tours of plays now. I did 3 weeks or a month. I think I did a month at in Hornchurch.
Yeah,
I did Rope there. It's a lovely theatre. Is what's his name? Doug Rintoul. Is he still the artistic director?
I think he might be, actually. Yeah,
young guy.
Oh, actually, no. I think he wasn't old, but like maybe not even middle age.
Yeah, I when I say young, I forget that I'm 42 now. And people that I think are young are actually like a bit old. They're probably 55. And I'm like,
Yeah.
young guy? No, you were all old.
No, he's ancient. Yeah. I can't actually remember the guy's name, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a lovely
Nice space.
Yeah, lovely space.
Yeah.
Great crowd as well.
Also, have you seen the houses around that area?
Yep.
Every day I drove in from Dartford and I would just be like,
Yeah.
whoa.
There's some money around that part of the world.
Yeah, nice area.
Is that technically Essex or London?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
I think it's on the border, isn't
It's
it?
like on the cusp of Essex in London, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Derby Theatre, like the space there as well. And Sarah Brigham, the director, she runs the place. I've never met anyone like her.
Wow.
Like, just gets on with it. Like, even in the face of like her physical. So I have Crohn's disease, obviously, which is like an autoimmune condition. I had alopecia as well, which doesn't really physically impair me, but the Crohn's disease does sometimes. She's a human. She goes through what she goes through, but she doesn't let anything stop her.
Wow.
Good laugh as well.
Yeah, it's inspiring that, isn't
Got
it?
that place in the. She's got the theatre in a good
Do you
place.
prefer theatre?
It absolutely terrifies the shit out of me.
Makes you feel alive.
Yeah, yeah. I go into I come out at the end of a. By the way, 2.5 hours of a show up here. Like, not just lines. You need to know exactly where you're going at all times. Well, that depends who the director is, how you stage yourself. But like, you have to know what you're doing at all times for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I think that's mental.
It's wild. What the capacity of the human imagination and the human memory is amazing.
Have you seen The Cursed Child?
Yeah.
On the West End?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Both parts?
Yeah, unbelievable.
That's like 6 hours.
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Is it Scorpius, one of the characters?
Yeah.
Dude's got like a Bible of lines in his brain. I mean, they all do.
Have you ever done a one-man show?
No, but I've written a one-man show.
Right,
though.
okay. Task for you as an actor.
Yeah.
Go and do a one-man show.
Yeah.
It's the most if you think doing a play is terrifying when you've got other actors on stage, do one where it's just you.
So have you done one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was honestly the most exhilarating. I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Did you write it as well?
No.
Okay.
No, as a Liverpool playwright, a guy called Ian Salmon, who I've known for years, wonderful writer, wrote a one-man show about. It was about a guy who he wrote mucky books for women.
Oh yeah.
It was like, so he wrote like 50 Shades of Grey books for women, but he wrote them under a pseudonym.
Yeah.
So no one knew that it was him, and some other woman who was getting all the credit for these books, and it was him. So I played like this kind of bitter, sort of alcoholic writer who was like I was writing on a laptop and kicking off, and I think it was let me work this out. I think it was 70, maybe 78, 79 pages of text, A4, big loads and loads of words.
How do you even approach text like that? Page by page? Or
I was in the car.
paragraph by
I
paragraph?
remember I was in the car learning it with my girlfriend at the time, and she'd have the script in her lap.
Yeah.
And I'd be driving along and going, and she'd be going, no, it's that, and I'd be going, okay, and I'd do another bit, and then I just drove around learning it.
Yeah. Do you find when you're learning lines, like being physical, doing something physical gets it into your bones? I think maybe that's one thing I did like pick up and take from drama school. It's like I can sit down and stare at the page for ages, but actually if I like do stuff whilst I'm learning it, it gets it into your body, so that way you can forget it mentally and it's there physically.
Yeah. And anything that you can do that kind of helps recall that information, because it's all there somewhere.
Yeah.
And then there's that really interesting world of like, how much am I giving over to the character in the play, and how much of James am I conscious of?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where's that balance? Because we're never completely, not to ruin it for the boys and girls watching this, we're never completely in the character and in the situation. There's always like, it's like you've got a little, it's like you've got a little version of yourself on your shoulder, just watching and making sure that you're not doing anything too mental.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I remember I was doing a play, we were doing Nell Gwyn. Have you ever heard of Nell Gwyn?
No.
Oh, it's good fun. Charles II had a mistress. She was from the streets, but she was the first female actress allowed on stage during like the Shakespeare era.
Wow.
It was like males played females, right? No women were allowed on stage for a little while. She was the first female actress, I think. But she was also King Charles II's mistress.
Oh.
Naughty boy. We were doing that, and I remember one night I fully experienced that where I was on my shoulder, but I just watched myself during the whole thing. But again, it's like you're at the back there, like puppeting yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know about method acting, man, like getting really deep and intense about it, but like, I think you could just like chill out a little bit and like and it's a craft. It's like being a plumber or like someone that I don't know builds things, makes it. It's like a craft that you put yourself into. I've never tried it, like Stanislavski, isn't it? Like putting
it just feels so unnecessary. I've worked
Yeah.
with actors who are like that
Yeah.
in the past, and you're having lunch in the van in the bus, and they'll be sat off on their own on one side, because they don't want to interact with anyone because their character doesn't get on with people. And you're like, lad, just
you're missing out on half the experience.
why are you making it so exhausting? Like
Yeah.
it should be fun.
Yeah.
But I think that's the issue for me, is that if you're not if you're not conscious of what you're doing and you're not enjoying it, if you're just totally trying to be completely consumed by what you're doing,
Yeah.
where's the enjoyment coming from?
Yeah. Yeah, because like we did a play, Someone Who Watched Over Me at drama school as well. I think there's a running theme. I did most of my plays at drama school. But it was like we were terrorists. It was from the Lebanese terrorist crisis in the 80s, which, by the way, is fucking mental. There was a guy called John. There was multiple guys, actually. But we met this guy called John, who was held captive for over 5 years in a Lebanese concrete wall room by these absolute bonkers, like real-life terrorists for over 5 years. Didn't see the light of day. His mum passed away while he was locked away, and he had no idea. He was obviously let out, whatever, during the 80s or early 90s, and then wrote a book, went on to tell his story, and he came into drama school and he had like a 2.5 hour meeting with us, and then he came to watch the play.
Wow.
That was the most insane experience at drama school ever, by the way.
Wow.
His recount, I've still got it on my phone, like the voice memo of him talking through the experience. What you watch films and you're like, whoa, that's mad. But then you hear someone like in real life recount it, it's like mad. But our teacher, she was hot on like, she didn't want us to like shower for like 3 or 4 days before we did the actual play. And I was like, I'm going to shower and then I'm going to dab myself with some black charcoal or something.
You know this is pretend,
Yeah.
right? Like,
And also,
no one's going to know.
Yeah, we're in class. And the poor dude that went experienced it, he was coming to watch it as well. So I was like, we're going to really make it, that authentic for him. He's going to put him straight back in that place. But yeah, like...
We're a weird bunch.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun to balance, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I first became aware of you about 2 years ago now on the TikTok.
Oh yeah, TikTok.
On the TikTok, lying in bed at night, doom scrolling, and this chap popped up on my screen.
Yeah,
and he didn't have all his hair.
Shit, yeah.
And he looked very sad.
Oh yeah.
And that's not the guy I'm meeting today. It's a hell of a journey.
Oh yeah.
What made you first? When did you start posting on TikTok?
Funny story. I've tried everything to make a living from being creative on social medias. So like YouTube, I did gaming videos, I did vlogs, I did rant videos inspired by Jackmate back in the day. I did everything. Nobody gave a shit, obviously, rightfully so. I wasn't making anything decent, but I tried everything for years and I just kept failing. And then my mum, when TikTok came around, my mum was like, you should download TikTok and do it. And I used to say, I'm not doing that, because I looked at my siblings and they were always on their phone scrolling on TikTok. And I was like, that can't be good. Anyway, lockdown hit. I left my Xbox in London. I had nothing to do, so I downloaded TikTok 2020, started posting videos, watching it, and I immediately was addicted. Like, I'd never experienced dopamine like it.
It's wild.
So I deleted it. I was like, I ain't doing that. Fuck that. That's dangerous. And then I moved to London. I downloaded it again. I got stood up on a date in 2021. This girl messaged me on Hinged. Messaged me first, organised a date and a time, and then stood me up. Wow. I waited for 30 minutes like a loser. But I went and got some beers and went home and made a video of getting stood up, basically. And that went viral. And after that, I just kept churning the content out.
Wow.
So since 2021. So basically, what my mum said was like, download it. I think you'd be good on TikTok. You're quick and witty and creative, and it might be an outlet. And I used to just be like, no, I'm not doing it. But then I did it, and then it worked out. So it started in 2021.
So mums know best.
Yeah, basically. That's more of the story.
Wow. How often do you post?
I post a little less nowadays.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for like 4 years. So like, and also after losing, like, because I documented losing my hair to alopecia. I documented getting diagnosed with Crohn's disease. After a while, it kind of like, I just sort of like burnt out, I suppose. Because I moved back home whilst I was really unwell, and I carried on posting throughout a period when I probably should have just taken some time to like focus on healing, but instead I documented that healing process, but also posted loads of shit. So I post a little less now, but I've invested in like a expensive camera, full editing suite. So like when I post, I try to post with my Sony, make it look really cinematic and stuff.
It looks great. I love the split screen stuff.
Oh, the 3x3s.
Really cool.
Good fun,
man.
yeah.
I haven't seen anything like that before.
Yeah, it's good fun. I did one in the Vatican the other when I went to
To Rome.
to Rome. Yeah, I think that's my favourite one. I did one at Fort Park as well. It made it look like it was like an alien film because there's Fort Park's like movie sets.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good fun because then I just get like my little creative fulfillment out of like what I'd look like in a movie.
Yeah.
Like try to make a little short film in like 12 seconds, like put a soundtrack on it, and yeah.
You've done well out of it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. It's funny because we're always told not to believe everything that we see on social media.
Yeah.
And then I come across people like you, and I think, but everything that guy is putting on social media is true. Like I don't, everything was on there that period, and I've gone back and watched the videos. I've gone back through that period.
Yeah.
And you didn't leave anything out
There
by
was
the look of it.
Honestly, I was so lost, and I'm not going to lie to you, not to get too deep. There is a silver lining, as there always should be, which is the message I try to get across, especially to young men as well. Not young men, just men and women in general. But I'm a man. I speak from a man's lens, and we lose a lot of men. I think it's one man every minute as well, which is insane. I sat in my car, like I was in a relationship at the time. I felt very lonely, very isolated. It wasn't a healthy space. I lost all of my hair to alopecia, which again, it's like I am a superficial person. I won't lie to you. We're all superficial to a certain degree. I'm an actor as well and a content creator, and I like to model as well, but not professionally. So a lot of my entire existence was based on my appearance, or at least I thought it was. My self-worth came from what I was on the outside. And I had that stripped away from me, and I moved back home to my mum's house at 27. I remember I went home, and obviously no one's gonna. I'm a 27-year-old man. No one's gonna scoop me up and rock me and say it's gonna be okay. As much as my inner child wants that, it's not gonna happen. So I moved. I went back home. I had all my stuff in my car. Left the relationship, and I was like, nobody's even asking me if I'm all right. But they already had asked me if I was all right. I was just like stuck in this space. So I sat in my car, and so there's a video of me in the car where I'm crying, and I just asked the internet for help because I went to the hospital 8 times when I moved to Manchester for 2 months. I went to the hospital 8 times. That's literally once every week in the entire duration I lived there. Went to see a doctor, a GP, or went to hospital, and nobody was helping me. And I was like, I wanted to die pretty much. I had a bowel disease, which I came out of fucking nowhere the year before, March 2022. And then March 2023, found loads of holes in my hair and then shaved my head in April. I just wanted to die pretty much. Like it was the worst place I've ever been. Sat in my car, I was like, the only way I can think of doing this is if I drive really, really fast and I close my eyes and I literally just go like that with a steering wheel down a parkway on an empty road. That's literally where I was, and I got in my car, was about to turn my engine on and do it, and I was like, okay, I'll ask the internet for help because I have this space that I've built a platform on, and also I know that you can reach people in the other side of the world. And I posted a video. I got upset in my car. There's a lot of like stigma attached to people crying on camera, and I completely get it. Some people don't have an outlet. I didn't feel like I had an outlet or didn't have any help in my real life, so I used a tool, which is social media. Posted that video, which if I look back now, I can't watch the video now.
No.
Like I get immediately taken back to that place. And it makes me really upset because I don't recognize that dude. And it's not about being bold anyway. But yeah, I posted that video and it changed everything. Like I met so many people that went through it and like humbled me basically. They were like, it's not about what you look like. And also I met people that had alopecia universalis, totalis, not hair on their head. Met Anthony Corrigan digitally, who's an actor who has he's in the Gotham series as well. He's done loads of bits. He's got alopecia.
Oh, him! I know who you mean.
Yeah.
He got alopecia.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and he's still working as an actor, so I'm connected with him online, and yeah, just met loads of people. And I literally spent every day at David Lloyd at the gym that I was at the time, 4 or 5 hours a day on my laptop, chatting to people. meeting people that went through it, come out the other end of it, went through it, still have it. Crohn's disease, got the bag and everything. And then I recovered pretty much. Got a full head of hair now. I am losing my leg hair though. And like with alopecia, there's a sensation you get, and it's like a tingling, burning sensation. At least that's what I've got, and it's always in my left and right leg, which is weird.
Are you losing your leg hair?
Yeah. And I think there's a patch forming on this side, which is where the first patch formed before. But I don't give a shit now. If it wants to go, it goes.
Yeah, you seem in a really good place.
Yeah.
Like, own it. Like, if this is the path that you're on, if this is the cards that you've been dealt,
Yeah.
crack on.
Yeah. It's like, moral of the story is that I try to post on my content is to just like stick around. Even like, look, my problems in the grand scheme of things are minuscule compared to what some people go through, but like the redemption arc is cool, man. Stick around and just fucking slug it out, bro. Cry if you like on camera and ask for help if you need to. Don't listen to the people that are just like, you pussy, why are you crying on camera?
Was that the reaction that you got from some
I
people?
did a Lad Bible interview. They did like a mini documentary on my story, and they posted it on Instagram. And the amount of men in the comments, well, every comment was men tearing the shit out of me. And these are military men who have mental health advocacy in their bio. You know, Movember dudes that are like fucking spending a whole month growing their mo out in the name of men's mental health, but also ripping me to shreds because I cried on camera, calling me a pussy and a woman and a melt and all these kind of fucking ridiculous things because I...
Because you were vulnerable?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Very helpful.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You're doing well now, though.
A little bit better than I was before, yeah. Yeah.
You look terrific, mate.
Thanks,
I
man.
got to say, you look absolutely terrific, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
You really do.
It's the goatee. It's a new addition. Is it a goatee? I don't know what it's called.
So that bit there's a soul patch. I know that. That's called a soul patch.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a goatee.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look quite distinguished.
Thanks. Going for the Johnny Depp look. No, I'm joking.
So obviously you used to document kind of everything.
Yeah. Attention seeker.
Validate me.
Please, please, please.
And that's kind of that's sort of stopped now. I guess because you're happier and you're in a kind of...
Well, every time I fucking do, oh my God, every time I do a recap of my journey of losing my hair and at the end do a silver lining, stick around, lads, because, you know, you're worth sticking around for yourself. Oh my God, it's like, oh, here he goes, views are low, whinging about his hair loss again. It's like, and I don't get wound up by comments anymore. I do find it funny, but if I can't do nothing right at the minute. If I post... you know, an inspiring story, it's because my views are low and I'm attention seeking. Yeah. Or if I post like a funny video, which is what I used to do before I cried about losing my hair. I used to do comedy. I used to just do impressions of absolute freaks on TikTok. And if I do any of that now, I get ripped to shreds. Like I'm not funny. I'm cringy. I'm embarrassing. Why are you doing? Or why are you copying other creators for? And I'm like,
I'm trying to go on a bit of a social media detox.
Yeah.
I'm trying to really limit my time and kind of treat myself like, you know, be
Yeah.
a Friday night and I'll light some candles and go on TikTok and, you know,
put a playlist on.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
go, oh fucking he's banging on about alopecia again.
Oh God.
God, I was
Views
trying,
are low.
I was trying to have a nice Friday. But I started blocking you know that girl who slept with 100 guys in a day. You know who I mean?
Yeah, I did a video on Lily Phillips.
That's her name.
Yeah, I did a video on her and Bonnie Blue. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had to block every account that has her face on, mentions her. But they have multiple accounts.
Yeah.
That Bonnie Blue girl has
30.
Oh, you're being really, really generous.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 130.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, you can't fucking get rid of them.
What can I do? I don't want to see it.
Launch your phone at a wall and fucking get a Nokia. Honestly, it pisses me off. That app used to be for like wholesome comedy shit.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not slagging off the industry. Get your bag, honestly. But like, advertise it somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know,
there's kids watching.
Yeah, and TikTok is evil, man. It will put that shit on a child's For You page if they don't, even if they don't interact with it algorithm wise. I used to know the algorithm, like all of us creators back in the day, like 2022, 21 to 23, even 21 to 2022, the algorithm was so easy to crack. Once you cracked it, as in you got a video into it, you could milk that shit.
Really?
The algorithm is so relentless now. Even what it shows you, before you could really cater your For You page to you. Like, so I just get worried that these kids are like, young girls especially are watching that and thinking, I want to be like that, which not fair enough, because I don't think young girls should be thinking like that, or like young boys shouldn't watch. Like young boys would watch that and be like, that's a normal way to treat a woman. Yeah. So I had loads of problems with it. So I did a video on it, and obviously I was called a misogynist, and then I did a video again, but from the other perspective, like the guys are the problem. I was called a white knight. It's really funny how fickle social media is.
You can't win, Jay.
No. But you can't, like, the algorithm now, like, in terms of, like, going back to, like, wholesome shit, posting a video on TikTok now is, like, you have to really slug it out. If you post a video, I've got, like, just under 500,000 followers on TikTok. Back in the day, followers used to represent view count.
Yeah, right.
Now it doesn't.
No.
Post a video, 4 hours, it'd have 400 views. But then next Tuesday, it's 100,000 views. Whereas before, when I'd do a comedy video, and my friends would do comedy videos, you'd post a video and it would gain traction. If we got like 10 people watch it for the first 5 seconds, it would gain traction, and it would have like 10k views in the first hour.
So it kind of snowballed based on what the original views were.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So now the algorithm is like, it barely get, at least from my experience, barely gets pushed out to anyone, and then next Tuesday, next Wednesday, it'll get thrown out and get loads of views. It's like you post now, gain later, whereas back in the day, post now, gain now, trajectory carry on for a week.
Yeah.
Then slow down.
I've posted a few and just kind of given up. I had one video that went, I wouldn't say viral, but it did numbers.
Picked up.
It did big numbers. It was me. Rishi Sunak was. Yep.
Yeah.
Rishi Sunak was asking. What was he saying? He was asking everyone to. Was it about conscription? Maybe he was asking people to. I can't remember. He's asking for the young men to do something. And I just basically just called him a twat and said, like, it's your fault, you prick.
Yeah.
We're in this situation because of you.
Yeah.
And that did quite well. How do you weigh up? So here's a question.
Yeah.
So you just said then that you think TikTok is evil, which, by the way, I agree. No, I agree. I think it is. I think the algorithm is so deep and so layered.
Yeah.
Like to make us so addicted and to stay on our phones as long as possible. More dopamine. If you believe that, how do you weigh that up with posting it and using it and being, as you said, having 500,000 followers? How do you kind of weigh that up?
God, it's carnage, man. It's absolute chaos. It is. I'm so addicted to that shit. Like, and so having a work-life balance, it's it can be quite overwhelming sometimes, because sometimes you do just want to lay in bed for the first 2 hours of a day and scroll, but you don't. But
were there times where it became a job, where it was like, I've got to do this today?
Yeah. So back in the last year, I joined a new management, incredible, and I worked with Barocca, Ritter Sport, Strongbow, Durex,
wow,
Tim Hortons 3 times, and then a few others. And it was like I was working a full-time job at the time as well. So I was doing my full-time job, and then at the end of the day, we'd have like 45 minutes of sunlight to go out and shoot like a commercial for these companies. And like when I do like collaborations with brands, I try to like do like a TVC, like a TV quality commercial, like not like a, hey guys, this is my water bottle, use code James to get 10% off. It makes me cringe. I've done that sometimes as well, but did it feel like a job? No, but because it's loads of fun, because you're shooting and making loads of creative stuff. But there has been times, especially when I was like going like that, where it was like the addiction side of like getting loads of followers and attention, but also like getting loads of views and maybe be able to make some money from it. It felt like I had to do it every day, and like that would affect things in life as well. Like it would just take me away from like being present.
Yeah.
And I think it's taken a lot of time away from me from being present in real life.
I see that a lot. Like I went out for dinner not long ago to a really nice restaurant in Liverpool. There's some great gaffs in Liverpool.
Yeah.
And there was a table of young girls sat across from us, and we looked over, and they were all doing videos.
Yeah.
And you were like, you're in this beautiful restaurant. They've just cooked you this amazing food.
Yeah.
And you're turning it all into content.
Yeah.
So at what point does it stop being
I have like I'm so conflicted internally because like I judge so hard, like people doing that when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm projecting because every time I get my phone out to film something, even if I have to, like I'm at a collaboration and if I don't film, I'm not building a relationship.
Contractually obliged.
Yeah. I'm literally like this, and I get conscious that people around me are like, "Oh, fucking put your phone down and be present." Because I'm like, "Put your fucking phone down and be present," saying it to myself as well as like a bunch of teenagers that are doing that. When actually, like, I think we have to like accept that maybe like the tier below us. And I'm 29 now. I turn 30 in December. I think I'm conflicted because I grew up. My childhood, I didn't have a phone. I had like a shitty flip, my nan's phone, but it wasn't mine. It was hers. And then I had a phone, and so I've experienced both, like being completely present. All you have is just what you can do with your hands and your feet when you're bored and stuff. To having a phone, so I know the difference of how happy actually being phoneless makes me. But I think we have to like have to accept that, like we go to a restaurant and we're enjoying a nice meal, having a conversation like we are now, holding eye contact, while all those people over there are just like doing a fucking vlog on their phone.
It's just the world now, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's mental.
It is mad.
Like you watch Black Mirror,
yeah.
like TikTok lives.
We're living it.
Like you look at some people on TikTok lives.
I can't watch
Oh
TikTok
God,
lives.
I'm addicted to it.
Mate.
And do you know what? My girlfriend's like, "Ew, turn that off. Why are you watching that?" And I'm like, I can't stop.
Because it's a car crash.
I
That's
can't
why.
stop. Yeah, and it's like
It's weird, isn't it? This world we live in, the Black Mirror comparison is absolutely spot on. I went to a gig. I've actually mentioned this on the show before.
Yeah.
I went to see Paolo Nutini at the Cavern Club in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive Paolo Nutini fan.
He's Scottish dude, isn't he?
Yeah. No phones allowed. You had to put your phone in a Ziploc bag when you arrived.
Yeah.
It's one of the most biblical events I've ever been to.
Really?
I go to so many gigs. I've been to Glastonbury 12 times.
Fucking hell.
I'm hardcore.
Yeah.
That is one of the most biblical events I've ever been to because everybody was present.
Oh my God.
No
I
one
fucking love that.
No one had their phone.
Yeah.
It got to like, I think he played for like 3 hours, and then they sort of put the house lights up, and he was like, "Do you want to hear some more? Like, is everyone having a good time?" Everyone was like, "Fucking yes!"
Yeah.
And it just went off. Everyone was dripping with sweat and smiling.
Yeah.
And you were like, this is what it should be like.
100%. That's what it was up until like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. I remember it, my childhood. I'm a little bit older than you, and my childhood was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Because, and also, we need to stop calling these phones, by the way. These are supercomputers.
100%.
This is not a phone.
No, you have everything in a second.
This is infinitely more powerful than the first computer that sent the first rocket to the moon.
Yeah.
In our hands.
Yeah.
And it's so dangerous. I'm doing a project with a guy called Nick Smallman.
Yeah.
He's got a separate project that he runs called The Sustainable Human. And it's all about helping people to sort of rekindle and redevelop real life connection away from your phones, away from your laptops. This space here.
Yeah.
This is where the interesting stuff happens. There's nothing going on your phone that's interesting. Apart from your content, of course.
Thank you.
But there's nothing. Save, good save. But do you know what I mean? We have to start encouraging people. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Where are we? Where are we headed?
I struggle like I don't want to like sound like I'm judging people. So like I'll talk from my perspective in a sense of like what using social media has done to me. I have a little bit more social anxiety. I experience anxiety before I go somewhere. I get overstimulated now. Never ever. I used to fucking love going out and being around people and making everybody laugh. I'm so partly because like I think it does something to you. You're on a telly, right? Do you ever get like people come up and say, "Oh, I saw you in the episode of Hollyoaks last week," whatever? It's an amazing thing to happen. Like it's very nice. But also like when I was first going like this, I remember went to a day festival, and then I went to Wireless. I think it was Wireless. I don't remember. And fuck me, I felt like every step I took, it was like, and it did something to my brain chemically, I think, like, made me very self-aware of like the environments that I'm in. And look, I make TikTok videos. I'm an actor, but I've not done anything of like, was going to come up to me and say, "I saw you in this," you know what I mean? And I don't think I have any sort of notoriety at all, but I do get people come up to me quite a lot. And that crossed with having loads, going like this, like on social media, and then people knowing who you are, and then also sharing my vulnerable story.
That's the one.
And forgetting sometimes I can post something and forget that it goes out to people because I love creating videos and stuff. Yeah, like using social media for me, like I've developed social anxiety a little bit. I struggle with eye contact, which is why I try my best to always be conscious with eye contact when I'm talking to someone. Like I look at people, and sometimes I think, fucking hell, they're probably thinking he's staring me in my eyes way too much. But I'm thinking,
what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, but I'm thinking in my head, just stare in their eyes because you really struggle with it. Because of social media, you weirdo. You never used to struggle with it. That's whilst I'm in the middle of a conversation. But yeah, like, and also like kids, I noticed that you know, like my siblings sometimes like can struggle to hold eye contact with me, and I'm like a family member, you know. And so there's all these things like these things are like amazing. And obviously it's opened loads of doors for me for sure. But also there are loads of negative effects, which I don't think they've not been around that long enough for us to realize really the long-term negative effects on them. But I've personally experienced a rise in my anxiety levels, especially socially and stuff.
Do you think part of that, you touched on it a minute ago, do you think part of that is because you've been so vulnerable on the internet? So the difference between you and I is when people come up to me, they go, "Oh my God, it's John Paul from Hollyoaks," or Ryan from Emmerdale, or "I saw you in that episode of that mad thing on Channel 5 that nobody watched." Whereas for you, they're going, "Oh my God, James, I watched your whole struggle through Crohn's and through alopecia and your mental health and you crying." So they know a lot more about you than they do about me.
I suppose that's a great point, actually. Yeah, because like we can hide through a character. You know, when someone comes up to me, it's like I was in Cambridge this weekend. Oh, my poor girlfriend. Like she hadn't experienced it like that. Where it was like not every corner, but like, and we were like trashed as well. We were just drinking. So it was her birthday, so I was like, we'll go bottomless brunch. We'll go to a cocktail bar, and we'll go out and we'll just enjoy ourselves.
So quite a booze themed evening then.
Yeah. And I was in the toilet having a pee, and I quite literally was standing there peeing, and the dude was like, "Oh my fucking God, James! Oh dude, I saw your. Can I get a photo?" And the other dude was like, "Can you let him piss first?" And I was like, "Just let me have a piss and then we'll have a chat." And then I had a catch up with these three lads in the toilets, took photos with them and everything. But yeah, it's like, but they all do say the same thing. It's like, "I saw your journey. It's really inspiring." But I think, it like makes me very self-aware and like not embarrassed because I get a real positive reaction because I have had conversations with dudes that are like, "You've helped me." And so makes it worth it in that sense because I do care about mental health and men's mental health because I know how it affected me.
There has to be a sacrifice.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to make a big impact on the zeitgeist, on popular culture in a really positive way through your vulnerability, getting men to open up, getting men to speak, you know, men watching your videos going, "Fucking hell, I'm so glad someone else is feeling the same way as I am."
Yeah.
To have that level of impact does require a bit of sacrifice. It requires something from you.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's kind of what you're experiencing.
Yeah. I think I've always been passionate about it as well. Like I used to, when I was a kid, like when I was like 15, 16, me and my friend used to watch motivational speeches online. We didn't really understand what they were saying, but it just sounded cool because it had a badass soundtrack in the background. But it made us feel something. And so like, yeah, I've always kind of wanted like the idea of sharing my life experience in the hopes that it would like offer perspective for those who, so I don't speak to my dad. I was the oldest kid in our family house growing up when my parents were together. So I took the brunt of pretty much most of his bullshit, pretty much. And so I've never had a masculine figure to like turn to, like, "Oh, this girl, what do I do?" Or like, "Oh, I can't be like take me to foot." You know, I didn't have a masculine dude. I had just like a freak, pretty much, that focused on alcohol and all that crap over his kids. And so I know what I need, and that is a masculine figure to straighten me out. So I would watch motivational speeches. I would watch Will Smith talking. I would watch Hugh Jackman perform. I would listen to Rally Ritchie's songs and like really digest lyrics of music from male artists and stuff. And that would be like my masculine figure to turn to, even though it wasn't anything about what I was going through. It would still like help me form like my own brain from all these different like men. And so I just wanted to cut the bullshit on social media really and share my story and be as brutally honest as I possibly could.
And I think in part as well, we we as a society need to address what masculinity looks like now, because there's lots of people using terms like toxic masculinity, and I'm not suggesting that that doesn't exist, because of course it exists.
Yeah.
But modern masculinity is something that I think we really need to address and we need to really look into, because I think for me at least, and for what I'm trying to promote on the show and the guests that I'm having on, it's great, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
My massive...
Oh, blue steel. Look at those eyes.
Yeah, look at that. Form an orderly queue.
Yeah, nice hair.
Thanks, buddy. As part of modern masculinity, vulnerability for me is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
Because that's where our forefathers and the previous generations have fallen down.
Yep.
Is they haven't been allowed, they haven't been given permission to be vulnerable.
No.
And for me, meeting people like you and seeing your content, it's so fucking vital, mate. And I know it might make you feel uncomfortable, and like you say, it might give you social anxiety at times and make you think, fucking hell, this is a bit much. But the impact that you're having on young men, you should feel really proud of yourself.
Do you know what? Deep down, like in those moments, if I'm pissed up in the bar having a piss and somebody taps me on the shoulder and says, like, you helped save me, or like whatever, you helped me see perspective, I'd take all the social anxiety under the sun, because in the grand scheme of things, it's like not about me. As soon as that video is out there, and I get what I want out of it, i.e., help, meeting people, learning about alopecia and meeting doctors and vice versa, doctors and fucking specialists and that. It's not about me now. It's about the impact that those videos will have on people. And I don't care if it sounds cliche. I do really think, regardless of what you're going through, again, like I said earlier, my perspective on life is my perspective. Like, my problems are here, people are there. It's incomparable. You just you got to stick around and also understand that what you just said about the men before us. We can look at like my dad, for example. Great point going back on. How he's turned out the way he has is a byproduct of how his dad was. Yep. And I went through therapy after I went through everything I went through. And my therapist said something to change my brain chemistry, I suppose. She was like, you've been blessed and cursed with breaking the generational curse. And I was like, you're right, it is a fucking blessing and a curse, because it's a big weight to carry. But also, I feel so good about myself when I post videos like that, and I know that all the lads that are just like, you knobhead, they're fucking stuck in their inner turmoil, man. And like one day they're gonna stub their toe and realise, fucking hell, like I've got to figure my shit out, basically cry, let it out, go see someone, get therapy, and everyone's on their own timeline. So when I do get people blasting the shit out of me for like crying on social media or whatever, I can also understand that that their lens on life is a little bit.
I think you can feel a bit sorry for them.
Yeah.
I do. Not to sound arrogant or anything.
No, I agree.
Because we've clearly done work on ourselves.
Yeah.
But I have a bit of pity for people like that, because I think you need to talk to someone.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be online writing this shit.
Yeah.
You really shouldn't.
You shouldn't be fucking. Yeah, you shouldn't be. It's weird anyway that you sat writing, getting pissed off at another dude expressing his emotions.
Put your phone down and go outside.
Yeah, literally. But also, like, we went to drama school. That opens a lot of boxes emotionally, and I don't think they necessarily know how to close them up before they slap you on the arse and tell you to go on your way. And I value my time at drama school so much because it opened my emotions. Like some of the work we would do in movement, for example, we would go back to our childhood bedroom and we would spend half an hour with our eyes closed in this space. And yeah, like it really put me in touch with my emotions. Maybe a bit too much sometimes, but I was a young 20-year-old going through it for the first time. And then going through my health conditions, which again, I'm still angry at. I still get fucking pissed off because it's taken a lot away from me. I still compare myself to loads of the lads around me.
Do you?
Yeah, like you can drink and do whatever they want. Like, not about life, it's about drinking, because it's not. But like they can drink, eat fast food, they can go out and do whatever they want to do, like normally, and not face consequences other than just like putting a bit of timber on and having a hangover. Whereas like I'm always thinking about everything all the time, because I know how like a beer will affect me. I know how some sweets will affect me. I know how a coffee will affect me. But it's all the things I like. I love like all the little leisures and
I like beer, coffee, and sweets too.
Yeah, I don't want to not eat that shit, drink that shit.
Life's short.
Yeah, but I know that I have to think about it all the time, and so like yeah, I do struggle with those things. But I think what it's taught me is like being open and vulnerable as a man. Going back to masculinity, I love this conversation because I've done some videos on masculinity before and I've been blasted the shit out of. Not by dudes, like by like ladies talking about like, what is masculinity anyway? Yeah. And I think it's a good question. It's like, I don't know what it is, but I know what my masculinity means. And it means being vulnerable, being a leader, having autonomy of myself, confidence,
being kind, being patient, bringing people together in a community, as you say, being a leader, being strong. And when I say strong, I don't necessarily mean physically strong. I mean someone who is capable of,
carrying those.
Carrying others.
Carrying's a good description.
Someone who's of service to other people.
Yeah,
that's a huge part of masculinity. It's being of service. I think, because you can lean into that when you're feeling shit, if your Crohn's is playing up, or you've had a bad day, or you just just the weight of the world on your shoulders. For me, when I'm feeling like that, I can lean into service. I can go, right, what can I do today to be of service to someone? What can I do that's going to benefit the world, or whatever? And that, for me, that makes me feel more like a man than anything else.
Yeah. I agree. It's like, how can you take yourself away from yourself in a selfless way sometimes, rather, because a lot of like men, like me as well, like we can be quite self-destructive. Going back to toxic masculinity, I think that there's a film. Did you watch the James McAvoy film? I can't remember what it's called. Came out recently. It's all about toxic masculinity. I think it's a remake of an original.
Not the horror film he did. The one in the cabin. Is it?
The one recently.
No, it was. I went for a spate of going to the cinema. Must have gone and seen like 5, 6, 7 films in like a month.
Yeah.
And that trailer was playing every single film I went to, so I felt like I knew scenes of it really, really well.
Yeah, it was a good display, a great display of toxic masculinity, or like toxic, I don't know, masculinity. I think is the wrong word.
Yeah, because isn't he awful to his children? He's got kids in it, and isn't he awful to the son or something? There's a scene where he's like out. Don't give me the twist because I've not seen it. All right, if you spoil it, you're dead.
It's good though. It's good.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right,
you should watch it.
I will watch it.
I think it's a good film. A lot of people gave it shit because it was a remake of a film that came out like last year, the year before last. But yeah, it's good. But also like the little things, I learned a lot from that film. Watching him, like watching that character, like it was like holding a mirror up to me sometimes when I'm being toxic and unhealthy in life. But it's in the little moments, like how he's driving, what he's doing, how he's with his girlfriend, how intense he is, how he processes his emotions, which again could be quite useful sometimes, but the scene's quite cringy actually. But yeah, it's like if you want a display of toxic masculinity, watch that film. Watch the original. I've not seen it, but but I think masculinity and femininity, I don't think they're exclusive to one gender either.
No, not at all.
I think they're interchangeable. Like you can be both masculine and feminine, and I think that's a lot of men are scared of the word feminine and emotions and shit, and it's sad, really.
I think it's archaic. I think it's a throwback to previous generations.
That's exactly how it's passed down. And I remember watching my dad like behave in ways, and the things he would say, and the way he'd treat my mum as well. Like, I beat myself up sometimes when I'm being a bit insecure, I'm being a dick or whatever. Like, oh, I'm worrying about things I really shouldn't worry about, whether it's this relationship, last relationship, or whatever. But like some of the things that my dad, I'd watch, and it's like sometimes I would replicate that. Not in terms of like how I would treat a woman, but when I was a kid, like a little like 9, 10-year-old boy.
Yeah, you're impressionable.
I would think the things that he was saying was right, and then you grow up and you realise some people don't realise that their dad's, and what their dad was doing was wrong. Yeah.
I went to see Swan Lake last week.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to see Matthew Bourne's Swan Lake. Have you seen it?
I think I saw
with the all-male cast
at the Leicester Curve when I was in college. I think I see it there. Maybe it was on tour. Bro, you can't. I couldn't stand up and do that.
There's a guy. There's the lead. What do they call it? The head, not the head ballerina. The chief. I don't know what they call it. The main dude. Anyway, he comes out. He looks Eastern European. He might not be. He's got a shaved head. He's got muscles in places. Like he's got those wings. You know.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
And he's dancing for like 2 hours, and some of the sequences they go on and on and on, and he's in the sky and he's on his knees, and you're like, bro, like to call that.
It's not for the weak.
That's not for the weak.
Not for the weak at all. No.
That's a really, really strong man.
Yeah, I think that's the image that blokes have got with masculinity. It's like a bit skewed. They think going to war is masculine and being a ballerina is feminine, when really like it's not really. That's not masculine. That's not feminine. Really,
no.
It's like
it's all interchangeable, as you said.
Yeah,
it's important that we have that.
Yeah, I think it's important for two blokes talking about it as well.
Amen to that, brother.
Yeah.
Look at us changing the world.
Yes.
The other thing that I wanted to, I was keen to chat to you about. I don't want to go too deep into the Crohn's and the alopecia, simply because it's all on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't have to talk about it. You just go watch it.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm bored of it. No, I'm joking. Ask away.
So are we.
Yeah, but it gets views, so.
Honestly, like a broken record. Oh,
Balding.
Psychedelics. Ceremonies.
Oh, fuck yeah, yeah.
I watched your I watched a YouTube video of you doing a ceremony, and it was fascinating.
Yeah.
I've never seen a video of someone going through a process, and that was that toad
That was,
toad
Cambo.
venom, or
Yeah, the venom of a toad, yeah.
and you had that applied to your arm.
Yeah.
And then you were quite sick.
Dude.
You got quite sweaty.
And then I looked like Darth Sidious from Star Wars. It's called Toad Face. Watch it on YouTube, honestly. It's sick. I've always wanted to make a fucking documentary. And I was like, Amy, you know Amy, right?
Yeah, we go to the same gym.
Yeah. Put me in contact with Ella. And then Ella was like, yeah, I did Cambo ceremonies. I had no idea what it was. So I was like, how about... Well, she actually said, looked at my following and my page and was like, why don't we collaborate on a ceremony? I was like, I don't want to do a social media video. Let me do a documentary, because I've always wanted to make my own little documentary, see if I can pull it off, or like do a little like 30-minute return to YouTube documentary, and literally just set my camera up and film this process. I didn't research it. I didn't look into it. I read the bare basics and I just raw dogged it, and I don't know if I'll do it again, man.
Was it intense?
Oh, it's fucking intense, yeah. And
mentally or
physically?
Physically.
Yeah, it was just, I thought I was going to die. And you can see the vulnerability in my eye when I look up to her, and I'm like, and I'm literally like,
it's because your face is
and my face
swollen.
is like, yeah, and I'm like, and I felt my throat closing up, and I was like, I think I'm having an allergic reaction. This is what an allergic reaction is, but I still don't know how I feel after it. I think I'm privy to mushroom ceremonies.
Right,
which I've done. I've done two.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have you done that with Amy?
They are like guardian angels.
Mm.
She just came into my life out of nowhere on social media, seen that I was going through loads of stuff, invited me over, and we they have a ceremony room. Oh, it's just, honestly, every time I think about it, it puts me into like a real. It changed my brain chemistry, basically.
Wow.
And like I have like I don't really talk about it that much, because it can come across as quite preachy, and people that haven't done it would just be like, we'll just bang some shrooms at a festival, mate, and you'll see some shit, which I get. I can't do that though. I can't take them recreationally. I can't, not after these trips, these journeys that I've had. But yeah, first one, they invited me over. I was bold as a bat, and I did a ceremony with them. Did 3.5 of, I can't remember what the. Oh, it was a hybrid, I think, of something. I can't remember what it is. But, and it's a whole ceremony, cacao, hot chocolates, and the space is set up. It's really beautiful. They've got a playlist, which is insane. The first journey that I had was really, really cool. It was like what happened was we listened to a 15-minute meditation after we drank our drinks, and I laid down and I opened my eyes and I looked at my arms and I just see avatar blood coursing through my veins, and I was an avatar. But what I wanted to go into it, I wrote down some intentions, and it was, am I what I think is masculine? Because the space that I was in before with a relationship, I was told that I wasn't, and I was told I was all these things that I let take over my self-belief. And so I wanted to go into this journey like, am I a true masculine man? Am I a good man? Am I a good person? Do I try to make the right decisions? And it showed me that I was a true masculine man, but by showing me that I was a fucking ape. And I went to the toilet, looked into the mirror, and I was like, what it was that physically meant masculinity. And it reassured me that I was on the right path, and that if I died from a Crohn's complication or I lost all my hair again and I was bald, none of it matters. Like, I am lucky enough to be experiencing losing my hair. I'm lucky enough to be experiencing pain and stomach aches.
Wow.
Even though it pisses me off a lot, because it is fucking annoying, because I am alive and I do have to endure it. But all those things that I deem as bad, like what I've gone through, I'm lucky to experience that kind of stuff. Then the second one, that first one was like, wow, look at the planes and the sky and the clouds. Even though we're in a room, but
what happened on the second one?
Bro, we had significantly more, and we drank our cacao drinks, and we started the ceremony, opened a space, and then Amy, I noticed, was getting a little bit. She was a little bit more physical than she was the first time because we're all like kind of journeying together.
Oh, so you all do it together?
We
then?
all do it together,
Oh,
yeah. So we're
wow.
doing it together. So we're experiencing something together, connected. The first one was very disconnected because I was very selfish. I was lost and I was like, I need to do this. But we were all doing it together. Oh, it's fucking business, man. Oh God, I remember laying back and I remember feeling, oh God, I'm gonna have to ask them for some orange juice and some sugar. I don't think I'm gonna like this. And I started freaking out. And I knew that we'd taken significantly more. And so I was like, oh God, this is it. And then my body tingled. And then next thing you know, it was hell for like 6 hours, but in the best way. But it was an awful trip, but like the best journey in the world. Like if I'd done that like recreationally and that was my experience, I'd have been like, I'm never doing that again. But I knew whatever was happening, I had those two there and I processed loads of stuff. I connected with them both. Amy has something called healing hands, like, and so when she connects with you in some way, like hands on my back or something, yeah, man, I just experienced loads of like parental healing.
Wow.
Through that experience, and yeah, I can't explain enough how those experiences have helped with my understanding of masculinity and femininity, and also, you know, understanding that I'm not the center of the universe and it doesn't really matter. Just enjoy what's happening and enjoy those experiences and stuff.
If that's the takeaway, that's amazing. Did you learn anything about? You said the first time you did it was very much about your place as a man and masculinity and who am I and am I raking the right? Well, did you learn anything the second time? Yeah,
the second time I learned that like even if I'm doing something that I'm like, oh God, I shouldn't be doing this. Not illegal shit, but like if I'm like going and doing stand up for the first time and my brain's going, you shouldn't be fucking doing this. It's like go and do it anyway. But also like I have so much that I need to get out of my stomach. Like I need to do 100 more. I need to process my emotions. I need to let them out, and not hold it in, which is funny because my whole life I was told not to bottle things up, and I used to bottle everything up, and then lo and behold, it all comes to a head. But yeah, it was very dark. I confronted, you know, like I said, parental stuff, a lot of energy from like dad, his parts of me that are in me that I know that are there. And it was just very like dark. There was a lot of fire, a lot of flooding, a lot of smoke, like the visuals, like the room was flooding. It was like the room was on fire. It was like, if this room is really on fire, which I can't distinguish whether it is or not, I'm going to pass away. And then I was like, well, I guess that's it then. And I'm okay with that because this is fucking awful. But no, you have a bad experience, but it's the best experience.
Well, is the good experience because you've surrendered to it? Is that where
I think so?
Is that where maybe the good experience comes from? Where you're going, everything in the room right now is completely batshit.
Yeah.
But there's nothing I can do about it. Amy's here.
Yeah.
She just put a hand on my back.
Yeah.
This is okay.
Yeah.
Maybe through that.
Yeah, it is because they said they haven't really met somebody who was as open as I was. Because the first time I was like, yep, do whatever, let's do it. And the second time I was like, yep, fucking let's bump it up again. Like do a few more, add a few more to the drink. And then when I sat back, because I had a quilt wrapped around me, and I was like, oh God, I'm going to need some orange juice and some fucking sugar. I need a trip stopper. I just went, oh, I can't literally do anything about it because I know that the orange juice and the sugar ain't going to stop it anyway.
We're in too deep now, bro. Yeah. We're in the trenches here.
And I just like surrendered, and it was like, yeah, it was mental. So like I respond better to mushroom ceremonies, and I'd love to do ayahuasca as well.
Yeah, that's loads of people really rave about that, don't they?
A lot of big celebrities, and that some of my YouTuber friends as well. They've gone off to the Amazonian rainforest and done like Portugal ceremonies as well. There's a ceremony, there's a festival in Portugal, I think. They've gone and done ayahuasca, and they're just like changed everything.
Wow, because you do it with like a proper shaman. And it's it's a real holistic. You know,
you have. I think if you do it in a group setting, you have one per person, and they stay with you the whole time.
Wow,
because it can last like 6, 7, 8 hours, I think.
Blimey, that's a commitment, isn't it?
It's very intense as well. Like mushrooms are like, meh, 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 and all you're like, oh, the room's on fire. But ayahuasca apparently is like,
you go to another realm of existence.
You purge. Like purging is, being sick, salivating, going to the toilet and stuff. There's a lot of purging, but that is half part of the healing.
Wow.
You're getting all of the shit out of you, pretty much.
Wow.
But I don't know what the visuals are like anyway. But everyone I've spoken to, that like the people that I've met in this realm, who have battled addiction, have said that it all stopped once they tried ayahuasca. Like their brain chemistry just completely changed after that.
Got some perspective as well, I imagine.
Yeah.
Really, like, looked inside yourself, got a bit of perspective, and went, like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Look how lucky we are to be alive.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a very spiritual experience. So, like, you want to go and you want to get something out of it. But yeah, ayahuasca.
I'm up for it. Do you want to do a documentary?
Yeah.
Should you and me?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it without doing it, bro.
You and me? Should we go to a rainforest? And
Yeah.
Find ourselves.
Just fucking let's go and do it. I still got to find some of my hair. It's still missing under this cap. Yeah, we'll do it, bro.
I'm keen.
Yeah,
I'm keen. Yeah, they're really cool guys. I see Amy in the gym all the time. She's always checking in on me and making sure I'm okay. And
yeah,
because I've been on quite a journey myself as well, kind of mentally. I had a really difficult COVID. My marriage broke down. I was in a very, very dark place with alcohol and substances and things, as I think a lot of people are, and then kind of came out the other side. And having gone on that particular journey, I'm so keen to do anything now that I think might help and might benefit. I'm really open to suggestions and experiences, and I'm very much in the kind of say yes to stuff.
Yeah, 100%
kind of world.
Yeah,
I think
even if you don't have a positive response from it, you take something away from it anyway.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And also you've got a story to tell as well, like your experience through COVID, marriage breaking up, your struggles with alcohol and substances as well, which I can relate to too. It's very human, and like the more people that talk about it, the better. And also going on an ayahuasca journey, I think you'd come out with some like conclusions as well. What would
you say to anyone listening that was maybe a little bit skeptical about this?
Oh, just be skeptical, man. Like I was at the point that I was at. I would literally do anything, because again, it was when I lost my hair. Like I said, I posted that video in my car, and I met loads of people. They were two of the people that I met.
Oh wow! It was that stage. So you were really in the thick of like.
I needed something. I would have fucking smoked crack if I thought it would fucking get me in a better headspace. I wouldn't. Don't ever smoke crack, by the way. That's not a good idea. I've never done it, but don't ever do that.
Very Moorish.
It's very Moorish. But yeah, I would have done anything to like have some clarity. I can't lie to you. I was so scared. Even though I was open on the outside, internally I was so scared.
You seem in a really, really good place, man.
I'm doing my best, but I've definitely had my struggles recently, but I know how to like navigate them a little bit more. Like in terms of context of being a partner as well, I'm in a new relationship. Like I was saying to you earlier off camera, like very healthy. Like I find my brain searching for problems, and then I talk myself out of those problems, or I communicate with her. She's like,
I was going to say, do you talk to her about?
Yeah, we can talk about anything, honestly.
It's the beautiful place to be, man.
Yeah.
Really is.
It really is. Like I haven't experienced that before, because like most times, again, being a young guy and a girl in a relationship, you don't have all the answers. You sometimes have to go through shit to come out and learn what the right way of doing things is.
Because she's still figuring it out as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you're in it unhealthy. Well, there's a difference between real toxic and abusive or unhealthy. If you're in a bit of an unhealthy space and you're both not dealing with it right, it's both yours first times. And I've learned that now about my previous relationships, but I now know how to communicate. But I also know how to self-soothe. So like the things I've been struggling recently is just normal things that like men would like be insecure about. Not like other men, but like insecure that I might not be a good partner when really I'm doing fine. But I know how to self-soothe. I know how to communicate in an effective way now. So like the things I have been struggling with really aren't anywhere near as what I went through physically with my health and stuff.
You said before as well something that I thought was really interesting when you said you felt that you were lucky. The second experience that you'd had with the psychedelics had taught you that you were lucky to have experienced the things that you've been through, and I think that's really interesting, because I certainly subscribe to that. I don't have specific regrets. I actually, the things that I've been through and the difficult times actually have given me depth and have given me perspective.
And as an actor, you've got way more to draw on now.
Oh my God, absolutely. I know what that feels like now.
Yeah.
So this character is, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm all about that.
You could bring that shit off the page without having to like I don't know, pull a technique out your toolbox, for example, like do some Stanislavski and shit.
I think there's some Brecht in this performance.
Yeah. Yeah. I got really excited at the thought of like I can tap into emotions like so quick now, whereas before it would be like trying to squeeze a tear out, you know.
Yeah. It's a really lovely place to be, man.
It is, and it's really
so
liberating.
important. It's so important as a performer as well. So important because you're a conduit. You are, you know, you're giving that experience over to the world through your art. And if there's a blockage, if you're not in tune with those emotions and you're just faking it, or you're having to really strain for them, it's not truthful enough.
No, people can see it, especially on screen as well.
Yeah. What's next for you acting wise?
I'm shooting a film in April.
Nice.
In France, there for 10 days. That'd be fun. And then a short film that I shot last July in Bristol. I can't wait for that to come out. It's going to be so fun.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it about?
It's called When in Rome, and it's about a dude whose neighbour is plotting to kill him, but he's in his flat, and his girlfriend's left him, and it's just him and his cat, and it's just him just like sort of milling about his flat with his cat. Well, the whole time the neighbour's plotting to kill him.
Are you the guy with the cat?
I'm the guy with the cat, yeah. And that I've never worked with a better animal.
I thought you were going to say I've never worked with a better actor. I was going to go, I can see that.
Do you know what? Yeah, and that as well.
Yeah, always knew his lines.
Always knew his lines, hit the marks.
Yeah.
Didn't say nothing, no. Brilliant. Great mime.
That's really exciting, man.
But yeah, hopefully that... I've not spoken to the director in... I don't want to check my phone like I can see my calendar. In a little while. But he had some really positive feedback. I think I took the character in a different direction to what he wrote.
Always good.
But he surrendered and was like...
Always good.
Great. And got some really positive feedback. And I'm just really excited because I hadn't done anything since I went through all of this stuff. And like I was saying earlier, I feel like there was a moment on the set where we were in the kitchen, very tight space. We had the camera right here. We had the production assistant, I suppose. She did my makeup. She did all loads of stuff like, and then the director there. And it was a very intimate scene. And he wrote the script for the words to be thrown away and picked up off the page and just sort of like kind of funny. And I did this scene talking about my girlfriend leaving me and stuff. And I'd just been through all of that. I mean, I left the relationship, however, I didn't want to. And I did the scene, and it was like, I could just like, I think about that experience and be there immediately. And finished the scene, looked down, the poor girl at the bottom, she was crying her eyes out. It was like, I thought the scene was supposed to be funny. And it was a really, really nice moment because I've never had that experience before, ever.
It's validation, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially as an actor, you're like,
yeah, of course it is.
Hopefully it looked good.
But that's what you're talking about when you're talking about emotional depth and experience and the truthfulness.
I wouldn't have been able to do that before. Honestly, when we was in drama school, just quickly, like in our TV and film classes, I was playing a character who'd hit and run a little girl while drink driving and killed her. I went to his sister's house. 8 takes. And then on the 9th take, my teacher took me around the back. It's like, it's got to be fucking real heightened emotion. Took me back. He was like, what are you doing? Like, just fucking breathe, man. And he came back and I was like, okay. Went back, had a breath, fucking bawled my eyes out during this scene. They yelled cut. Everyone was like, "Ray!" And he was like, shut the fuck up. Just do it again now. He was like, don't you fucking lose it. Do it again now. Because it took me 8 takes to force this emotion. And then when I finally surrendered to the truthness of the scene, it worked. But that's the only other time that's ever happened.
A lot of that's relaxation, as I said to you before.
Yeah.
You've got to be relaxed.
Yeah.
You've got to be open to what happens. The best moments that I've had on set have been where we've kind of thrown the script away. I mean, we know the words, we know what's taking place.
Yeah.
But within that, like you said, you took the character in a different direction to what the director expected. That's where the really fun stuff happens, especially if you're working with another actor that's as open to suggestion as you.
Yeah.
And you go, right, what can we do with this? And then they take it one direction. You go, oh, that's... And you sort of subconsciously go, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take it over there then.
Yeah.
And you have this really interesting dance.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end of the scene and you're like, that was odd.
It was great, though.
I think that might have been brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the moments that I live for.
And you can't replicate it either. You can't go again.
No.
You know, you have to take that and like...
That's the difference. That's the difference for me between film and television and theatre.
Yeah,
is that theatre is. I mean, you know, you can sort of play around with it once you all know the text and you've done, 10 performances. You can go, right, I'm going to try this tonight.
Yeah,
and then you have that moment on stage where other actors are looking at you like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
That's not what we did in rehearsals, James.
Yeah, they're like I kind of like doing that though sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but like you can get in the rhythm because you're doing the same thing, maybe sometimes twice a day,
Yeah.
6 days a week. Like,
You've got to find new ways to keep it interesting.
yeah, definitely.
For me, and that's what I love about TV and film is that immediate, like, right, okay, we've got an hour and a half to shoot this scene.
Yeah.
It's just the two of us. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Let's see where we can go with it. Play opposite. Do the opposite of what's on the page.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to be really vulnerable in this scene. It says there you're really angry. Yeah, but I'm going to be really vulnerable. Okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Same. And I like directors that are open to it as well. Because some directors are just like, no, do what I say and read the words how I wrote them. Like,
I hate that so much.
yeah, some of them are very regimented, some of them are very open. And I just had a great experience on that film. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it actually looks like because I don't have a clue what it looks like.
I'm looking forward to seeing it too.
Thanks, man.
And you're auditioning. You got an agent, all that good stuff.
No, I left my agent end of 2023, I think. Just 3 years of chasing. So, but I submit myself for stuff now. I've got a social media manager.
Oh, amazing.
I'm just like focusing on like creating content for brands and stuff. Because I want to be a filmmaker as well. That's the first thing I ever did.
Really? Oh, yeah.
I take my camera out everywhere I go now. Like I shoot with Georgia. Like we'll just have a conversation, but I'll shoot it 3 times, and then I'll cut together the scene. And it's just us two having a conversation. But continuity wise, remember the stuff we do, because then it's teaching me how to act as well. Because then I'm like I'm lining up shots.
Yep.
I'm remembering continuity. I'm shooting authenticity as well because we are just chatting, which just teaches me how to really act. And then I'm going away and I'm editing it, I'm color correcting it, I'm soundtracking it. Well, I'm just putting a song behind it, and then I've like cut together a little like short film that me and her can watch together and stuff.
That's so cool.
But I also like I learned a lot of drama school. Like just, I know like when to, like a lot of people would justify their choices when really the director would be like, I don't understand what you were doing there, but let's try it like this. Oh no, it was just I was doing it. Just accept, say yes, do it again.
There is something to be said for that.
Yeah,
just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, just get on with it. Yeah. But I'm also like you very much so. Like I love all of it. I love all of it, and if I could be greedy and do all of it myself, I would.
You can, and you are.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Honestly, keep going. Keep creating.
Yeah.
Keep writing. Keep filming. It'll all come together. If you dedicate your life and the majority of your experience to being creative.
Yeah.
You can't fail. You just can't fail. You might be successful as a director or an actor or a writer or whatever.
Yeah.
But it'll happen, man.
Yeah.
You've got a great energy. You're
man.
a wonderful human.
You too, bro. Thank you.
It's so good to sit down with you, bro.
Yeah, likewise.
Thanks for coming in, man.